This past week in Israel, there was a really horrible event that took place. A young family with two small children, they heard that it was snowing in the Golan Heights, and in Israel, then snow is something very rare and very exciting. So this family traveled from they traveled from their home to the Golan Heights with their two small children. And when they got there, they're driving up they were driving up in the Golan Heights, and they saw all the snow falling. It was very exciting. So they wanted to get out and walk in the snow. So they stopped at a place called Har Avital, and they were walking along a path, and they didn't realize that they had walked into a minefield. The Golan Heights is scattered with minefields left over from past wars between Israel and Syria. But usually, when you go to the Golan, then you see that there are signs, that there's big signs saying "Danger, minefield, do not enter," and there's barbed wire, so you know not to enter the minefields. But in this case, it was snowing, and I assume all the signs were covered with snow, and the family didn't know that they were entering a minefield. So now, it's really terrible, but these two young children are hospitalized with serious injuries resulting from entering this minefield, and they stepped on a mine. And it's really a great tragedy, and we should keep these children in our prayers, and that they're hospitalized in Haifa, and that they should have a speedy recovery. But what it made me think about is it made me just think about how often as mothers, it's a snowy day, let's say, and how that we just wander into a minefield. That we wander into like a family minefield. And we didn't know they were entering it, and it's snowing. We can't see the signs, so we don't know how to safely escape, get out of that minefield without stepping on a mine ourselves. So I had one of those snowy minefield days this past Wednesday. So it was snowing in the Golan, but in the rest of Israel, in Jerusalem at least, it was really, really rainy and a very, very cold and rainy and stormy week. So Wednesday in particular, and then it was freezing cold, and it was a very, very stormy, rainy, windy day. And most days at around 5 o'clock, what I love to do is I love to go out with my younger children. And I like to take them to the Jerusalem market right next to where I live. Or I take them on errands, or if it's a nice day, that I take them to the playground. And I really, really need that outing. I really, really, after the sort of an afternoon with the kids in the house, I really, really need a breather, and for us to sort of see new things, and sort of a nice change of pace after sort of a early afternoon in the house together. But this past Wednesday, I couldn't get out of the house. It was freezing cold, and it was pouring rain, and very, very blustery, windy, stormy day. So there's no way I was going to get out of the house with the kids. So, which is already sort of a difficult thing for me, because I really, really need to get out of the house after after a few hours of afternoon with the kids in the house. So what did I do? Anyone who's been watching these pep talks for a while knows what she should do. Knows what I needed to do. I said to myself, okay, what do I need right now? I'm feeling, miserable and claustrophobic, and I'm about to explode at everyone and everything around me. So what do I need to do? I need to make a list of the 10 things that I can do at that moment to be happy. So what I thought of, right away, I realized what I needed. It was pretty obvious. I needed to get out of the house. So I said to my oldest daughter, Hadass, I said, okay, Hadass, I'm sorry, Hadass, I gotta get out of the house. You're babysitting for the next hour. And so I just fled the house with my umbrella and so I was walking around in this storm, this huge, storm and wind, whatever. So I went out on my own, and I went out for an hour. I bought myself a pair of shoes that I really needed, and I bought someone a present. And by the time I came home, I was sure that by then I was going to be totally refreshed in a totally new state of mind. But when I walked in the door, I realized that it hadn't happened. I was walking again into the same minefield that I had left. So it was a snowy day in my house, and I didn't know how to avoid the minefield. I didn't know what to do. I just felt like I was powerless to avoid all the mines because I was in such a terrible and foul and grouchy mood. The problem was that one of my children, one of my daughters, was in just a foul and grouchy mood as I was. And so basically I walked in the door and right away, she was sort of sulking and in a bad mood and complaining. And right away I started fighting with her. So basically it was looking pretty bad. I was seriously in a minefield and I was actively stepping on the mine. That was the situation in the Weisberg home last Wednesday afternoon. So what did I do? I remembered something that I read a few years ago and that has helped me out in many tough situations, and I wanted to tell you about it as well, because maybe it will help you out also to avoid your own personal family minefields as well. A few years ago, I read an article by Sarah Yocheved-Rigler of H.com. A few years ago, Lo Aleinu Shalom Nida, she was diagnosed with cancer, and her doctor told her that it was very important. One of the most important things that she could do to recover was to get enough sleep. He told her, I believe, that she should be in bed every night by 11 p.m. So you wouldn't think that if someone says, your life depends on this, it would be so hard, but really it was so hard. It's very, very hard for like a busy person with a lot of important things to do, like Sarah Yocheved-Rigler. It's very important for her to to be in bed by 11 p.m. So what did she do? She explained that what she decided to do is she made herself, with kids we make like sticker charts. We say, okay, if you for like 30 days, you don't wet your bed, or for, if you remember to say, all your blessings over food for 2 months, then you're going to get the scooter, or you'll get like a piece of gum tomorrow morning or whatever. So she did the same thing with herself. She said to herself, if I, for every day this week, if I get to bed by 11 p.m., then I, on Shabbat, am going to be able to eat a pint of chocolate ice cream, of my favorite brand of chocolate ice cream. And you know what she said? She said it worked like a charm. Because, she explained, the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination that tricks us into doing all sorts of things that we know that we really, really shouldn't do, is easily bribed by chocolate. So, when I was in my own personal snowy minefield this past Wednesday afternoon, I was on like a collision course with my daughter, who was also, in a grouchy mood. So what did I do? I said to myself, okay, I looked at my watch, and I said, okay, within an hour and a half, all of my younger children are going to be in bed. If I can get through this night without snapping at anybody, yelling at anybody, being a grouch, and being a general party pooper, then I'm going to get, my favorite food is pudding. That's like my big treat. So I'm going to buy myself a vanilla pudding. And in one moment, like that, it's like magic, I switched. I switched from being a grouch and a walking minefield to being a sweet, smiling mother. And I continued to be that way until I got everyone to bed. And the next day, I bought myself a vanilla pudding, and I ate it, and I was so happy. So, I want to bless all of us. I think that we as mothers, we're very used to the fact that with our children, it really, really helps to do something to encourage them to have good behavior. Let's say a child doesn't make in her bed, so she gets a piece of gum the next morning, or a child who for 30 days doesn't hit anybody in nursery school, then they'll get like a scooter at the end of 30 days. I don't know, but we're not used. We don't realize that we as mothers, we need the same encouragement. We need the same sticker charts. We need the same ways. We need the same methods to encourage good behavior in ourselves. So I want to bless us that we should be able to find the ways to encourage ourselves, and in that way that we should be able to avoid all possible minefields. I want to bless everyone with an amazing week.